one of the things that I spoke about in the city chambers is having transparency through the department. Do we want to have the federal government come into our city and resonate different things? I want our politicians to step up before we have to go to that extreme. I want to give them the opportunity of being able to answer this problem and knowing what's going on. Community transparency. Our chief of police have already expressed that he feels not a need to train the 4,500 officers in this department. He's already said that, all right? He's already said that. So if he feels that way, I need the city manager and the mayor and the city council to reform him. You're his boss. I need you to be more proactive what's going on in the police department.
As white Americans in this nation, we have the privilege of having the choice whether or not we stand up and speak. And we have the privilege as white Americans in this nation of having the choice whether or not we care about our communities. We have the privilege of having the choice whether or not it matters to us that schools are more segregated now than they were before desegregation laws were passed. And we have the privilege as white Americans to have the choice of whether or not to look away when black bodies are bleeding and dying on the streets. But we may have that white privilege, however, as citizens of this nation, as members of our communities, as members of the human race, it is our responsibility to care. It is our responsibility to stand up, to stand with, to walk alongside, to be at all those places and to get the work done that we just heard about. It is our responsibility to do that. It is our responsibility to teach our children to care about everyone regardless of color. It is our responsibility in whatever realm or sphere of influence we have in our offices, in our churches, in our places of worship, in our friends, family that we interact with, to spread that message so that we really can work for change and that we can be a part of the difference and that we can stand up for justice.
And for those of you that are 25 and under, let me say to you, you are becoming the moral conscience of our country. And I want to thank you. I am so proud of you. I want to thank you. I've talked to a lot of people in places of work and in the community, and there's a lot of naysayers who say, well, what difference does it make? Why are they marching? Why are they doing that? And my response to them are, at least they're doing something. Yay! And I want to thank you. At least we're doing something. What you're doing is a good thing. I want you to know what we're doing is a necessary thing. That's right. What we're doing is a righteous thing. And we need to keep doing it. As we're doing this righteous thing, please remember, don't get caught up in the either-or arguments. It's a both-and movement. Is it racial justice or is it economic justice? It's not either-or, it's both-and. Well, are we protesting police brutality, or is it about reforming the prosecutorial process? It's not either or, it's both and. Is it civil rights, or is it women's rights, or is it gay rights? It's not either or, it's both and. Don't get caught up in the arguments. Because at the end of the day, the bottom line is, it's the whole damn system that's corrupt. It's not either or, it's both and. And if we keep going, we can take it apart one brick at a time. So, as we move forward, keep going. Keep going. And if you keep going, we can dismantle this classroom to prison pipeline. If we keep going, we can reform our economic system, and maybe the rich won't get richer and the poor won't get poor. If we keep going, maybe black lives will begin to matter. If we keep going, maybe all lives will begin to matter. Don't stop, because what you're doing, it's a good thing. What you're doing is a necessary thing. And what you're doing is a righteous thing. Keep on.
We want justice. We want it right now. But we do understand, just like King said in his farewell speech to us, that we may not be able to see it. We may not be here to see the promised land, but our kids will. The people after us will. So it's indicative that we get there. We want people to hear our voice. We want justice for the disenfranchised. We want jobs. We want a fair opportunity. We want to bridge the gap between authority and community. We want our voices to be heard, and we want a fair chance at justice and equality. It took those in the Montgomery bus boycott 367 days to generate change. So don't expect this to happen tomorrow. We've got to show up repeatedly. We've got to encourage repeatedly. So when I say justice, you say now. For all the people that have died in the streets, justice.
Now!
For all the people that we stand on top of, justice.
Now!
For the biggest cemetery in the world, which is the Atlantic Ocean, justice.
Now!
For us who walk down the streets and break down the pillars of those that don't like the color of our skin, justice.
Now!
Our lives matter, justice.
Now!
We matter, justice.
Now!
We will get there, justice.
Now!
We don't care who stops us, justice.
Now!
We will keep on walking, justice.
Now!
We will be encouraged, justice.
Now!
Nobody will turn us around, justice.
Now!
Tamar Rice, Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, justice.
Now!
Justice.
Now!
Justice.
Now!
They can't hear you. They can't hear you in D.C. They can't hear you in Chicago.
Talk to 'em.
They can't hear you in New York. When I say justice, you say no. Justice. 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 Dallas, we want justice.
Now!
Next Generation Network has did. We affiliated with an organization called the Mothers Against Police Brutality. That organization is started by Ms. Coletta Flanagan, the mother of Clinton Allen. And what we did was, Ms. Coletta Flanagan she had a few things that she had going into these next 2 weeks. She was scheduled to speak at in Washington, D.C., which she came from today, to speak at the White House and several different things. But one of the things I told her, I said, hey, what I would do is I would help you with the protest to keep it going on in DFW, so that when you go to Washington, you can see a model of peaceful protest. You can demonstrate what this organization is doing and what different organization is piggybacking off of. So the Mothers Against Police Brutality is the lead organization in helping a lot of legislation and a lot of stuff going on from the hours of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.